This is the spark of humanity.
Yeah, I think part of the whole resting thing for the human, the body, when it shuts down, it's easier to go to a different level, different dimension, a different type of consciousness. And I think it's sometimes easier for them to communicate in that level when the body is shut down and you're resting, because the body feels stuff on its own. It has its own brain, its own form of mechanism to communicate and to feel. But when that's shut down, you're communicating with just pure consciousness.
This is the spark of expansion.
And we weren't in the room, which to touch him, to say, usually you read, or when it happened to me, they didn't touch me at first. It was just, and on some occasions, I don't remember them touching me at all, but, they really kind of went the extra mile, just relax. It's okay, so let's go. It seems like there may have been some type of telepathy or something to calm him down.
This is the voice of experiencers.
In my personal experience, the one being that I saw wearing a robe, and I know others to report also wearing a robe, is the mantis type of being. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, of course, you generally hear of something close fitting, or sometimes even reports that they don't think the beings are wearing anything at all. So it's a sort of an interesting away team outfit if they're coming to collect them and take them somewhere.
Just who are extraterrestrials? Is it time to release our patterns and trust in universal evolution?
Well, Michael, that he was observing and protecting himself so he wouldn't feel emotional. But you guys know me, it hit me really hard, and I felt the emotion big time when he said that they embraced him and told him everything's going to be all right. And I know in my experience, it's common for them to let you know they're not going to harm you, or you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this was different. This was more emotional. Almost like, okay, we know that you're a young boy who needs more assuring, more comforting. And it was, we think of these beings as not having a lot of emotion, but I felt a real sense of love from them to him.
Let's find out with the voices of contact.
Ask them why you're there.
They're watching me.
Why are they watching you?
Learn.
How long have they watched you for?
Lifetimes.
Do they still watch you now as an adult?
Right now.
They're still watching you now?
Right now.
They're with us while we're doing this session?
Yes.
Do they have any messages for you right now?
Stay focused. Telling me to believe in myself.
Anything else?
I feel like I'm floating right now, and I'm floating away from them.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary. This is Voices of Contact. I'm a channeler and psychic medium, and I'm also a regressionist. I work with ET experiencers through MUFON. I also work with PTSD experiencers and victims of crimes. So again, super excited to introduce the expert panel. Apparently, we're becoming really close friends because every week they become more and more my favorite people. First, we have Deb and RJ DeRoos. And
Hi, everybody.
They're authors, paranormal UFO researchers, they're experiencers themselves, and founders of the Michigan Contact. They're also owners and managers of the Mystical Awakenings radio show and the Mystical Awakenings metaphysical store in Houghton Lake. Check it out. Went there a couple of weekends ago. We had so much fun.
We did.
And it's a great store. It has a lot of cool stuff. Next, we have Bill Konkolaski, who has been the state director for the Michigan chapter of MUFON since 2004. Besides also writing 2 amazing books on his own personal experiences, he's contributed to many other UFO related books and documentaries. Last but not least is Michael Carter. He is a longtime UFO contactee, author of Alien Scriptures and Extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible, and he's also a regular consultant on the History Channel, the History Channel's Ancient Aliens, as well as being featured on several UFO documentaries. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Good evening,
Mary.
everybody.
How's
Good
it
to be here with
going?
you all.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm liking that coffee cup, Bill.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
No, we don't need videos anymore. You could just hold this
That's
up.
very lovely.
Nice.
All right, so to give the viewers a little bit of background of the show, if this is the first week that they're tuning in, it's really all about the regressions that I do with clients who have given me permission to use the regressions. And we explore the regression itself with you guys so we can go over their experiences and they have a chance to hear what experts see as their experience. Tonight's show is one of our biggest people. We love him to death. Michael John of Paranormal Voice. He let me regress him and he agreed to allow me to use it on this show. So he's tuning in, and so I'm pretty sure he's going to be excited to see what we have for him. So for the first clip that I'm going to share, this is actually where he regressed to when he was a young boy, and he wakes up in his room and he's in his bunk bed and he's surrounded by beings. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let her roll.
Allow yourself to go back to the time when you were a young child and you were in your bunk bed and you could see 3 beings with jet black hair, straight, long hair down past their shoulders, standing at the edge of your bed. Tell me, what do you see around you?
I don't see much. I see the door behind them. I think it's shut. I think they came through the door. And they're all wearing blue outfits.
Describe the outfits for me.
It's like graduation gowns.
Why are they wearing the graduation gowns?
I'm not sure.
What are they doing at the edge of your bed?
They're all looking at me.
Do you know them?
No.
Do they act like they know you?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Curious.
What do they do next?
Kind of they circle around me and they put their arms around me,
What do they do when they put their arms around you?
telling me it's all right. Don't be afraid.
Do you answer back?
No.
Do you allow them to put their arms around you?
Yes.
What happens after they put their arms around you?
We're walking.
The robes are certainly an interesting touch. In my personal experience, the one being that I saw wearing a robe, and I know others to report also wearing a robe, is the mantis type of being.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, of course, you generally hear of something close fitting, or sometimes even reports that they don't think the beings are wearing anything at all. So it's a sort of an interesting away team outfit if they're coming to collect them and take them somewhere. If they're all wearing robes, that's an interesting point to ponder.
You know what's interesting? Here again, we have the 3. We talked about that last week, Bill. I'm not sure what really what that means, but it appears they do appear a lot in the 3 count. So, yeah, the robes. They may be wearing them to, ease the sight. Ease the eyes. because we don't really know what they look like right underneath, but it might be there to so the experiencer has less shock. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's for me, what struck me, which with the rapidity, and we weren't in the room, which to touch him, to say, just, I mean, usually you read, or when it happened to me, they didn't touch me at first. It was just, and on some occasions, I don't remember them touching me at all, but they really kind of went the extra mile. Just relax. It's okay. So let's go. It seems like there may have been some type of telepathy or something to calm him down. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And also his voice. I mean, and I don't know Michael that well. I know him from his show. He's very animated, but here it's very sedated. It's the clipped sentences. When you asked him, what are I don't know. It was just almost like he's just standing back watching it.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah.
There's no emotional kind of I didn't hear it or feel it in his voice.
Yeah. That was exactly what I was feeling as well, Michael, that he was observing and protecting himself so he wouldn't feel emotional. But you guys know me, it hit me really hard. And I felt the emotion big time when he said that they embraced him and told him everything's going to be all right. And I know in my experience, it's common for them to let you know they're not going to harm you or you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this was different. This was more emotional. Almost like, okay, we know that you're a young boy who needs more assuring, more comforting. And it was, we think of these beings as not having a lot of emotion, but I felt a real sense of love from them to him. And another point was, when Bill said the only robe that he made him think of the mantis. That's where the only place I've really seen that as well. But the physical appearance didn't sound mantis, unless he has more to say about that. I don't know. But, when I have asked them to come closer to me so I can see them better, they never do. And it sounds like they were very close to him. But yeah, I really felt like he was protecting that emotional little boy with, the overseeing this and not allowing the emotional to impact him.
Okay. Are you guys ready for the second one?
Yes.
Sure.
We are.
Okay.
We're walking down a hallway. It's like a bright light ahead, black tile floor.
Are you moving towards the white light?
Yes,
Do you feel like you're going to walk through the white light?
you disappear into it.
You disappear into it?
It's like I can see everything going on from another perspective. It's like I'm behind myself and I'm watching this.
Does it feel like it's out of body? What's on the other side of the white light? Are the beings still with you?
Yes.
Move forward through that white light with the beings. You're safe and protected. You don't have anything to worry about. You're just observing. And I want you to move through that white light to the other side of it and tell me, what do you see?
Panels, like control panels, lights and buttons.
Where do you think you are?
I have no idea.
Do you feel as if they took you somewhere?
Yes.
Where do you feel like they took you?
Where they belong, where they're from.
Okay.
Good.
So what you guys think?
I thought it was interesting. I think at the very beginning, I could hardly hear him. He said something about there was a black tile floor at the very beginning. And what we speculated, or at least what I speculated before, he's watching himself interact with them. And, I loved it when he just said, look, when you asked him, where do you think they're taking to you? He says, I have no idea. It was just something about the candor instead of trying, to just say, well, maybe I'm on another planet. You know what I mean? I don't know where they're taking me. That I liked that.
I'm familiar with the regressionist technique where they have the person who's being regressed, rather than relive their experience, draw back and participate as an observer to watch what's going on. And to me, it sounds like what's going on here, though I'm going to guess you didn't ask him to do that. Maybe perhaps he himself identified that as a safety technique to go through the experience he was going through. But that sounds to me like all the other accounts I've heard of people who've just observed what was going on so that they could manage what they were seeing.
Yeah. So does that go along with my line of thinking, Bill, that it's like an emotional protection for him?
Sure. Yeah. The amount of terror that's reduced by not being the direct focus of this high strangeness, to be able to sit back and watch it. Yeah. I've never gone that route. I've never stepped out of myself and watched myself as an observer. I've always sort of muscled through what I've gone through, but I could see some with some really powerful experiences needing that assistance to watch what was going on rather than relive it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I really kind of feel like since he was able to do that because of the amount of emotion and probably terror, that, this wasn't an infrequent experience for him. I feel like it probably happened many times, for him to be able to step back and actually see himself walking into that light or disappearing into the light. It's like it was something he did often. He knew instead of them physically taking him, they had him walk into it. So, I really think that's a common for him. I feel for his fear. And I wonder if he were regressed without doing that, how that would go for him.
Yeah, now that you guys mentioned that, it does sound like he's kind of protecting himself. And like you said, Bill, not really living or being there. He's just kind of sitting back and watching it.
The observer.
That makes a lot of sense. But this light, what is this light? I mean, I've heard this light situation in many cases. Is it a medical procedure to cleanse, the being? Is some kind of a medical technique that just makes it safe for everyone. But there seems to be a lot of times where people see a light and they go through this light. It may be a cleansing mechanism. I don't know. But yeah, I have to agree, though. I think he's on purpose trying to be observer and not be in the moment.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is that, it reminds me of that. What was one of Raymond Moody's books? It was about the Omega Point, Omega project, where he was discussing the similarities between NDEs and contact experiences, where you go through this light.
Yeah. That is interesting because you know, I know that Mary has told people, well, ask them
Hmm.
where they are taking you. And I think maybe you were kind of picking up the protective mode. So rather than have him ask them, you just moved him forward. But it would be interesting to see, you know, if he had other regressions, how that kind of thing might go for him. Yeah. And I want to say too that, you know, with the light, I always see that as like the portal between the dimensions. So for whatever that's worth, it's out
Yeah, I was
there.
curious about the light, exactly what it was and what's the purpose of it, really.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. So for this next clip, um, it moves forward and he's actually on a craft with the beans and he's sitting at the table, which I thought this part was really interesting. I guess it does make sense because he's a little boy and during this regression, but it is still it's interesting. So give me one moment.
Why do you think they're feeding you?
For comfort, to feel part of.
Do you feel like you've been here before?
It's just comfortable. I don't know. It's just comfortable.
So you're not afraid?
No.
What do you do after you're done eating?
They're introducing me to a being, but it's a smaller one. It looks like them.
Describe them for me.
He's in the same type of outfit. I believe it's a male. Same hair, but like just little.
Do you feel like he's older or younger?
My age.
So like a young child?
Yes.
What happens with the younger being?
We're conversing, but we're not using our mouths.
Is it telepathic?
Yes.
What are you saying?
I say hello, and then this one says, "How have you been?" Like seeing me again, is the tone.
So he knows you?
Feels like it.
Do you know him?
He's not unfamiliar.
Why do you feel that you're there?
I'm meant to be.
What are you going to do now?
Now, if you didn't catch the first part, he was sitting at the table and they were feeding him.
For comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that
Craziest
very
thing.
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. They're all about making him comfortable. And, you know, to me, they're treating him like a family member. And when he was saying about the size of the other being, I thought, oh, he's meeting his brother. So I might be crazy, but that's really what I picked up, what I felt at that in that moment. And he seemed to be not uncomfortable with that being, and he seems somewhat familiar. And the comment, "How have you been?" That tells us this is not a new meeting. He's not meeting this being for the first time. There is some sort of a relationship there. And knowing Michael John, I've always felt from the moment I met him that he is a star being. So I guess I'm not terribly surprised at this. So.
Yeah, I remember my experiences being young and the beings being more lighthearted with me, trying to make some small gestures for comfort. But I guess what I want to actually pivot to is when he was asking about why he's there, whatever, and they said you're meant to be. So I'm wondering, is that you're meant to be like, if my kids were to ask me, why do I have to sit and have dinner with the family? Like, you're meant to be here, whatever. Or is it like some grand scale, like you are meant to be here with us, and, some bigger picture version of that. Are they just saying, because we told you to be here, or are they implying something bigger?
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, both of you, Deb. Yeah, and even though he may not consciously remember being there before, he said it's not totally unfamiliar. And who knows, memories can be wiped, or he just didn't remember. But I agree that this is not the first time that this star person has been with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think it is a grander scheme as well.
Yeah, that was a great point, though. Really.
Yeah. Now, did he say this being had hair? Did I hear that?
Back, he said they had long hair, long straight hair, so they seem more humanoid
Right.
looking. But I'm just
Yeah.
guessing. I mean, you can be a gray with long hair too, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah, he sounded more humanoid.
right. Yeah, I'm not sure what the connection is there, but obviously it does sound like they have met before in the past. I can't help but think this brings me back to this hybrid situation. They have something to do with that. And who does it benefit? I don't know. Does it benefit them, us, and how does that work? But he seemed very comfortable with it, and I'd be interested in what kind of food they were eating too. I don't know if those beings eat the same kind of food, but if they were more human, they probably might. But yeah, the hair thing just got me because, I you don't hear that very often, when it comes to the grays, right? Yeah, I don't.
Right,
Remember.
but he's not saying what race they are.
Right.
So they may not be grays.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about that. So.
Now, didn't he say in the first clip that they were dark?
Yes, and it was dark hair.
It was dark hair, long dark hair.
Okay.
I'm aware of a situation with a woman who was taken when she was young, and she said that the beings would sometimes wear wigs to comfort her.
Oh.
But this sounds like natural hair to me, just the way he describes it. I don't know, obviously.
Interesting.
It is really interesting. And too, like he described the being as like the other ones, but small, like him. So either maybe it is a brother type thing, or maybe they were just presenting a being that he would be able to connect with more because it was more his size.
Yeah.
So okay, so the next clip I have is me asking him why they're there, and him talking about how they're watching him, that they're always watching him. So give me one moment on this.
Can you ask them why you're there?
They're watching me
Why are they watching you?
to learn
How long have they watched you for?
lifetimes
Do they still watch you now as an adult?
right now,
They're still watching you now?
right now.
They're with us while we're doing this session?
Yes.
Do they have any messages for you right now?
Stay focused. They're telling me to believe in myself.
Anything else?
I feel like I'm floating right now, and I'm floating away from them.
How long do you stay in the ship?
It feels so quick, but it's a long time.
How do you get back home?
I'm just there. I'm just back there. Just back there.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. Yeah.
So it's interesting. He said that they were been with him. I think he said many lifetimes.
Lifetimes.
Yes.
Yeah, lifetimes. Yeah. So definitely an ongoing process for sure. And this, a lot of people have took claim to this also, that they've been contacted not only this lifetime but other lifetimes too, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Yep.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
But which also leads back to what we were speculating about the familiarity. They if they've been watching him lifetimes, then they know him, and he was not quite sure, but there was a familiarity. So this is, as we speculated before, this is not the first time. It may, who knows? It could be the first time this lifetime, but we know it's not the first time now.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
When he says they're with him right now, I wonder if he's remarking on something that is a constant, like they're always watching 24/7, or if the act of regression somehow put him on a wavelength with them and they realize what he's doing. And so their consciousness came rushing in, so to speak, one way to put it, to be with him through this, either to monitor him or to comfort him or something along those lines. I wonder if the regression drew them or if he's just remarking, yeah, they're watching me all the time.
Well, they told him to stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be through his life, his day-to-day activities, or it could mean while she's with you in this session, stay focused, on what went on between us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I talked behind the camera with you, Michael, about this whole program that we're doing is kind of unique because we're allowing a lot of information to come out from experiencers, and I don't know how they react to that. If I mean, it's okay so far. It's kind of different, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we're listening to people's sessions,
Exactly.
and then we're putting them on
Maybe it's
social
time.
media, man.
Yeah, it's
I
time for
don't know
that.
anybody else is doing that, and I
Right.
mean, I'm digging it,
Yeah,
but I mean, I
I'm
don't know
liking it
anybody
too.
else is doing it.
But yeah,
I mean, it's powerful, and people see this. Some may get triggered, it may bring back stuff, but that's why we're here. We can help them. It may trigger us.
right.
I mean,
And it's
last time, I know I got a little triggered,
yeah,
but I think it's fantastic. I just think 2023 moving forward, and then let's get back to our
right.
brother Michael here. Is the year of the experiencer,
Yeah,
where people are taken seriously. No one's snickering anymore, obviously, because it's in the media more now, whether it's fake balloons or whatever it is, it's taken more seriously. And so I think this is the beginning of a lot of other things where experiences come to the forefront. We empower each other, we support each other.
Right.
That was
And
my commercial blur.
it's just not about the experiencer though. We're also revealing other beings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm really interested in, to see who they really, really are. Who are they? And we do more, programs, we're probably going to reveal more of who they are. And I really, to me, like that,
Yeah, and I really agree with what Bill and Michael have both said, and what RJ is saying. When he said right now, that was so powerful, and then when he said it the second time, I literally got goosebumps, and my mind went right back to a comment that RJ had said in the last clip about, I don't know if that's to benefit them or us. And I heard at that moment, what is the difference? So that tells me a lot. That tells me it's to benefit the whole. All of them, all of us. What is the difference? We're all connected. We're all from the same source. So What is the difference? And that, I mean, that's how powerful that right now was bringing all that to light. And, you know, I feel that when they told him stay focused, they knew this is going to be heard by many. So stay focused and speak truth, because it needs to get out. And I agree, it needs to get out. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely time for the truth to be heard on many different levels. And so, like during that regression, for me personally, with the other things that he had said, I felt that the beings had actually come through right then and there, because the way he was talking is like they're here right now. So yeah, it was a very powerful message. I wish I would have had time to do all of it because there's a lot of great things in there. Even through some of the clips I was listening to, it almost feels like when I'm asking questions and he's not answering, there's something else answering. Can I prove it? No, but it sounds like it. So the speaking of like figuring out different beings, this last one it was still in his regression, but it wasn't an experience per se versus an actual reoccurring dream that he had over and over again. And this dream, he always goes to this weird town that's familiar to him, even though he doesn't actually know it, and to this weird house that's familiar to him, but he doesn't actually know it. And while he's doing this, he comes upon a being. So I'll play the last clip for you guys, okay?
And then there is a sixth arm, light brown being that is in front of you. Tell me what's happening.
I'm scared.
What's he doing?
Right in me, right in my face.
Why do you feel that he's there?
So I know.
Why is he there?
So I know he's there. I want to say it, not he. I know it's there. That it's around me and it's there. It's here.
So he's with you often? What's his purpose of being there?
He's got something to do with the other ones.
How long has he been there with you?
Years.
Does he do anything for you?
No, but he's telling me that he's there to make sure I'm okay.
He's there to make sure you're okay, so he's a protector? So when you dream about him from now on, you know you don't have to be afraid of him, that he's just helping you?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other kind of messages that he has for you?
He's telling me to stop being a baby, that he's not that scary.
He just looks scary?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, so a little bit, I'm not sure if you could hear him, but the being had like 6 arms. And so every time he'd have this dream, the being would just scare the crap out of him. So the main message from the being was he's there just to make sure he's okay and to quit being a baby because he's not that scary. Cracked me up. I had to throw in a little bit of humor to it just because it's funny. But what's your guys' take on something like that?
Well, we've all seen a being like that in the Indian culture with many arms, haven't we? In India, I'm just trying to make a comparison here because that's the first thought that came in my mind. That's the only place I've seen that. Some of the god or goddesses from India, they appear with all these arms. It was interesting.
The thing with the Hindu goddesses, though, and some of the Buddhist art, the arms are supposed to represent something,
Right.
like it'd be compassion, wisdom, loving kindness. And the only reason I bring that up is because, then you have to say, well, is that figuratively speaking, or did this being really have, all these arms?
Right.
It was some levity though. Yeah, grow up, be a man, grow a pair. I'm not that scary.
Mhm. I think this is one of those moments where, as much as we can make these guesses at
Yes.
what an experiencer is going through, it's every experiencer's personal journey to walk, their own vision quest, their own time with these beings in whatever
Hmm.
format, physical, interdimensional consciousness. And so you just have to say, I'm cool with you having these 6-armed things come to your dream, and if you grow from it, I guess that's the purpose.
No, I agree because it sometimes it's at least for me. I mean, we're just speculating. We weren't there. We're just kind of like trying to decipher.
Right.
And for some things, there are no comments for it. It just is what it is.
Mhm.
Talk about reaching out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
tentacles.
Yep.
You can
Well,
shake all 12 of my hands. Let me give you a hug. Let me give you a hug with all 12 of my
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
obviously, no disrespect to the Hindu culture,
No,
of
no.
which we're not fully steeped. But
Yeah,
if it's an iconic image to over 1 billion people,
yeah.
that's saying something.
Absolutely.
exactly. Exactly. And I wonder if the 6 arms if that represents protection. And that's why this being is sent to him. And is it a god, a goddess, a being from an extraterrestrial, or is there a difference?
Yeah, and it is a dream.
Mhm.
It's a dream.
It's a dream.
So it's even more elusive.
Exactly.
And it's his dream.
Right.
But reoccurring.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. But it's
it's
his dream.
reoccurring for a reason.
Mhm.
And I think, like it told him to comfort him, to protect him. It is there. It is his dream, and it is there to protect him and showing him, I'm here. And that was, one of the first things he said. It has to show him he's there. So,
Well, he did have a little problem with it. He felt I felt this like, you're right in my face, and that this is kind of weird looking. This is to me. This is kind of I don't know what to make of it, but like he says in the end, it explains to him everything's fine. So
oh, poor
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. I feel personally on a little firmer ground with his experience than the dream because
mhm.
it's so subjective. And if you look at like in some Jungian um, modalities where you're the whole, if you want to decipher a dream, you're the every person in the dream. And so it may not be literally at all. It may not,
Right.
this person may not have had 6 arms. This person,
Right.
it may have been maybe him needing to feel protected. And so if he's each person in a dream, I don't want to get into all that, but I'm just
Good
saying,
point.
because it's easily to go literal, but with the other ones, it was some reality, something firm about it.
Yeah.
For, for this dream, it depends on what school you come from. If you're Freudian, if I'm
Yeah.
Jungian, if you're Gestalt,
Mhm.
A lot of interpretations.
it's a
Mhm.
lot. It can go to this time next year.
Yeah. But I do know, Michael, that some people, and I'm one of those people, that I don't remember experiences when they happen, but I dream. Or I think that's what it is I'm dreaming because it comes back to me in pieces,
Hmm.
little bits at a time, like in dreams. And sometimes even when I have an experience, I don't know if it's an experience or a dream. Does that make sense?
A friend of mine told me because I had that. A friend of mine who's an experiencer, from another generation. Actually, he was in his 70s at the time. I've lost track. Maybe dead now. He said that the way he figured out was if you have a dream and you're being visited, and it's in your bedroom or in your home, in your dream, if everything is the same way, like my bookshelf is there, my Reiki table's here, my books, and everything is like that in the dream, he's saying that's a real visitation.
Right.
Because in dreams, everything's distorted, but if you're having a visit and your bathroom is right there and your car is right there, that's
Right.
really that's really happening. Because it's rare that in a dream everything would be right where it is in real time.
Okay. Makes sense.
I mean, if that's helpful.
Yeah. So, Bill, you've had a lot of experience with experiencers. Um, what's your take on that? Do people often remember in dreams, or?
Where things get fuzzy is that I believe the beings can contact us while we are dreaming, and it goes back to that thing whether they need to take us physically. If they do, they'll take us physically. If they need to just connect with us, it can be done on some plane of consciousness. And a great way to communicate with us is if they're doing it telepathically, or whatever the proper term you want to use is, into our dreams, then they can manifest in our dreams. And we think we're dreaming and we have an experience, and then we wake up and think it's all a dream. I do believe that happens. Why, I should say, I've had several experiences where I think that they've come to me in my dreams. Um, and so I do think that's one of the methods that they have of being able to reach us. Now,
Mhm.
another layer of this is that a lot of people think that that sort of dream state is a halfway point between wakefulness and like an astral state. And so it's just, and that astral state is that level of consciousness where if they're not going to take you physically, they're going to take you astrally. But if they can meet in that middle ground of the dream state, then yeah, probably even easier for them, and easier for us. And when we wake up the next day and say, "Boy, that was really, real, pardon me, really realistic," but it was a dream, wasn't it? And I think it's possible that if one is a frequent flyer, that it could be that they came to you in your dream, maybe.
Yeah,
But I think
it
it's
makes
happened to
sense.
me.
It makes sense. I mean, I think we've all kind of experienced something similar.
Yeah.
What one last thing for me, then I'll be quiet here. He didn't mention them having 6 arms earlier, and I'm assuming these are the same beings. So that's why, and that's another reason. I mean, in this dream state, um, it may have been just symbolic. Who knows? But I don't recall at the beginning of the hour when we started listening that he didn't mention all these appendages. He just mentioned the long hair.
Yeah, this one was a separate experience.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the point where we tapped into the subconscious because he was curious about the dreams that he had been having. And so that's when we tapped into the subconscious to get the information.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to add this thought I just had a second after I was done talking. To be clear, I have not mentioned any of the experiences I've ever had in my dream state publicly. So if anyone was to wonder, like, oh, that one experience, was that one of those dream things? No, I've never talked about my dream stuff. Sorry, I just want to say it.
Yeah, I don't either much.
Yeah, I think part of the whole resting thing for the the human, the body, when it shuts down, it's easier to go to a different level, different dimension, a different type of consciousness. And I think it's sometimes easier for them to communicate in that level when the body is shut down, you're resting, because the body feels stuff on its own. It has its own brain, its own form of mechanism to communicate and to feel. But when that's shut down, you're communicating with just pure consciousness, and you're able to go on that third eye level of traveling and communicating, and to travel without moving is what I'm saying, to places that you're not able to in a physical form. So,
Well, thank you guys for tuning in and joining in. Thank you to the experts for the opinions. I know Michael John's going to love it. I'm pretty sure that he's been excited the whole time he's listening to this. You guys are always full of just amazing facts and information. You're just so knowledgeable. So thank you again to our audience. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you, Mary.